Pronawn da pwyb, croeso I cyfarfod heddiw. Hello and welcome to the Council's Healthy and Merthyr Scrutiny Committee, March the 24th, 2026. Please note that the meeting will be recorded and broadcast via the authority's internet site. The images and sound recordings may also be used for training purposes. So if we move on to the agenda, and item number 1 is apologies.
We've had apologies from Councillor Julia Jenkins.
Oh, that's when my hand was up.
Yeah.
And Louise Maynard.
And there's apologies from the Cabinet Member Louise Maynard-Vokes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to mention before we move on to item number 2 that Stuart, who was a member of the committee, has taken a decision to step down from this committee, but he is joining one of the other panels that the authority runs instead. And I'd like to welcome, although he isn't seen, but Nick Corrigan, who is observing today's committee and will be undertaking training with a view to joining the committee in the near future. Okay, welcome Nick, although we can't see you. We'll see you in the next one, hopefully. So item number 2, any declarations of interest, please?
First, I've got my hand up for previous, please, Chair.
Yes, yeah.
Can I just say, is there a possibility that we can have a letter of thanks sent out to Stuart? I know he was only with us a short time, but, you know, I just would like to acknowledge the time that he did spend with us and just say thank you. And I'd like to welcome Nick. Can I go to the next item? I'd like to declare a personal interest in agenda item 8, please. Personal interest as I do work in the private sector. Thank you, Chair.
Right, okay. That's the placement sufficiency, Claire, you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. And Councillor David Hughes?
Yes, item 6, special guardianship. I'll declare interest, presidential interest.
Again, before we move on to the minutes, there has been a request to slightly change the order of the agenda. So we'll deal first with the placement sufficiency item. Then we'll move on to the vision for adult social services. Then the one on the report on special guardianship before we finalise with the forward work programme. So, if are members in agreement to that course of action?
Yes, Chair.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. So, items number 3 and 4 are the minutes of the meeting held on the special meeting on the 4th of February and our normal meeting on the 10th of February. Would someone, any issues of accuracy? If not, would someone please move and second, please?
Chair, am I able to move because I wasn't present at that meeting? So
No,
I don't
it should
know
be
if I'm
obviously
able to-
somebody present.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Please, Chair.
I think David and the two Davids, I think, were the only ones at the one, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah. So I'll move them.
Okay.
I second it.
Thank you very much. So we can move on then to the next item, which are action logs. And all actions from the previous meetings have been actioned. So we can now move on to the report on placement sufficiencies, which Joanne Llywelyn, Head of Children's Services, will take us through. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you. I'll be very brief with it because obviously everyone's already read the report. So this is our placement sufficiency report, and this is a document updated every year by Children's Services. So the report provides an overview of the current services and placements of children, the developments we have underway at the moment to meet our future sufficiency needs, including foster Wales, children residential and supported accommodation, so in the removal of profit agenda. So it outlines the impact of the removal of profit on placement sufficiency requirements. The report outlines our current arrangements around sufficiency of provision to include fostering, but also wider provision, looking at residential and supported accommodation, and how this meets the needs and better promotes the outcomes of our looked after children. So the purpose is proposal that the Scrutiny members to note and discuss the contents of the report. The report will give updates on where we are of our placement sufficiency, the data into our placement sufficiency and where we're looking to be in the future. A little bit of an overview of the removal of profit agenda as well, although I know lots of information has been provided to Scrutiny on this already. Just an update on the dates where Welsh Government have provided in terms of new registered providers, new placements, and when we can and cannot implement this removal of profit agenda. Just a note that from the 1st of December this year, this document will be replaced by the sufficiency report rather than placement commissioning strategy. It will just be called sufficiency, and that will be expected to be provided to Scrutiny and to be signed off sort of early 2027. So happy to take questions.
Thank you, Joanne. As you said, it's a very comprehensive report, so thank us for just taking us through it. And we'll move on, first of all, to any questions, please. Councillor Ian Thomas and then Councillor David Hughes.
Thank you, Chair. It's a general question, Joanne. Are there any plans to extend the not-for-profit principle to other areas of social provision, for example, care homes for the elderly?
At this moment in time, there's been no indications from Welsh Government that that's a plan for them to do so, but however, we're aware of the Senate elections coming up, so the Welsh Government elections, so there may be some changes after that with whichever party is in power at that time. So, but there's nothing, no plans as yet been suggested to us.
Right, thank you, Joanne.
Thanks, Joanne.
Thank you, Chair.
Anything else, Ian?
No, that's all. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Councillor David Hughes.
I had that question, but I've got another question as well. In the table in number 4, it's 4.1 table. As you can see, Merthyr Tydfil per 10,000 capita has got higher ratios, higher number of children in other areas. Why do you think that is, Joanne? Why do you think?
Yeah, so I think poverty probably has an impact on it. The levels of neglect that we come across, things like domestic abuse, the drug and alcohol issues within the area. I think they've all had a mixture of impacts. Some of them we can work with to provide their support through Barod and different agencies, and some of them, in terms of the levels of poverty within the area, probably more systemic than I can deal with just as Children's Services. They have come down. So when we look into our figures at the moment in terms of across Wales, we were in the top 3 of sort of 10,000, the ones with the highest numbers of children in care. We're now middle of the table, so this table is really unfortunate with placement commissioning strategy because all the data is old data, so it doesn't really show you where we are at the moment in time. But all I can say is at the moment in time our population is about, I think, 147 today of children in care, so a lot lower than it was previously. So we're on the right slope again in terms of keeping the numbers lower, but there's a whole raft of factors. I think Early Help Hub, I work with the SGOs, which I'll go into later, I won't go into now. All those things have helped bring our numbers down. It's sort of a lot of factors together.
No, yeah, I'd just like to say it's an excellent report and so informative, so I haven't got any other questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, David. Councillor David Isaac, please.
Thank you. It says on page 34, 5.10, other provisions. It goes into saying where children are based. Basically, children homes are being treated like HMOs, and we have the same stigma around the buildings than we do with adults as well. Are we having difficulty finding buildings for this type of thing, or are we going to have to take a different tack with the general public when we go towards these buildings?
Yes, thanks for that question. It is problematic because they do get labelled as problematic with no evidence base on that. I mean, the evidence we have is the support we provide to our young people is high level and they don't cause problems within the community, which is, as you say, can get stigmatised with. We're working on this with our RSLs and with housing and other providers to see what we can do to provide accommodation for our cohort of 16 to 18-year-olds who need supported accommodation. So we utilise the ones we have already, and I'm not aware of issues being raised with those ones, but it is problematic, and we continuously trying to review how we can provide this type of accommodation which meets the needs of the communities and our young people. And it's a complex tightrope to balance on, because we were aware that, as you say, people can have ideas of what these young people will be like, or think that we're going to place adults in this accommodation when it is just for young people. So yeah, it is problematic. It's a work in progress. We're trying to work on business cases at the moment in terms of working through and looking through the options, but it's a long journey, because accommodation as well is quite hard to find in Mawrth, Tydfil, which is suitable in terms of the area as well. It's not just finding a building, is it? It's finding a building in the right area which is going to meet the needs of our young people. It's a work in progress.
Thanks very much.
Okay, Councillor Isaac, all right? Okay. Dave, is yours a legacy, or you're coming back with another question?
No, I got another question if I can ask
okay,
it.
yeah, no problem.
Joanne, have we got a policy on the type of area where we're looking for these houses? Are we looking at the house that is detached away from the main streets, away from schools and stuff like that? Is that a policy we got, or do we just look at any house?
Well, it would depend. Because these are 16 to 18-year-olds, being near schools and things isn't an issue. I'd like them to be near communities, because actually these are young people of Mawrth Tydfil and need to be part of the community. They're our future community and our futures. There are some areas I don't want, if possible, not near high crime areas, because they're vulnerable. So actually, it's trying to figure out everything and around. So we liaise with the police and look into the environmental impacts and get their advice. If we looked at a property and we immediately didn't go for it because we knew it could be problematic. So we take all these things into consideration before we'd go anywhere, and it would have to go through planning for additional accommodation anyway, so it'd go through the whole planning route. So yeah, we're nowhere near that stage at the moment, because we haven't identified anywhere that is even suitable, because they come up so rarely.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Okay, David?
Yeah, yes, thank you.
I've just got a couple of questions, because as David has pointed out, the report is so full, really. I think it's answered most of what we would want to ask. It's around paragraph 5.5 it is, Joanne, residential. There's reference in there to two further properties becoming available.
So that's the flowers. That's the flowers site.
No, work has already started on the recruitment and registration of a 2-bed short-term breaks home and a 4-bed long-term home.
Yeah, so that's the flowers. So it's the four, the flower site, the old Thomastown House site.
Yeah,
so it's the 4 on there. So 2 of them we've registered and staffed already, and then we've just started recruitment for another long-term 4-bed home, and then we've got a short breaks home, which is sort of weekends and holidays to help children support families with children with disabilities. So that's a little bit later, but we've started the recruitment. I think we've recruited most of the staff now for the other home. We've certainly got a manager in place.
So you've answered the question really. It's physically ready then really. It's the things that go around it. I thought they were further properties. You see, my apologies.
No.
Yeah. Okay. And then the final sentence of that paragraph. Some of these children cannot be returned to in-house provision. Are there any which perhaps are out of county or that could be returned at this point in time? Obviously, I realise that the various children could change, but as it stands now, all well be good. Are any of those able to return?
Yes, and we've returned some from out of authority already. We've got plans for another couple to return from out of authority. But also, we've either got young people who are coming in or replacement breakdown, so it's getting the balance right, and matching those young people is so crucial. So there's some young people who will perhaps look at later returning home because their educational needs we need to meet, because we need to make sure the health needs are being met. But there are potentially 2 that we're looking to return from out externally. And the homes we've had already have returned 2 young people from in-house residential home to family. So we've got that. Hopefully that move on. It's been really positive.
Yeah. Okay. Has anyone else got any questions before we move on to comments? No? Okay, any comments, please?
Don't know whether you can see that I got my...
Claire?
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to say, Joe, yet again, it's an exceptional piece of work that you've done. It wasn't a question. I wasn't going to include this as a question, but I show great interest in 5.18, the 16 plus provision, because it'd be quite interesting to see the business case that's being developed. And I hope that with the 16 plus provision, I hope there is specific support being put in place as well to ensure that the young people can carry on receiving the support, but knowing what it's like in the big bad world, and there's no homelessness involved, and etc, etc. So firstly, well done, and secondly, I really do look forward to seeing how you progress with the business case for the 16 plus provision. So well done, and well done, Lisa, as well. Thank you, Chair.
Any other comments? One comment I've got, and we will be perhaps discussing it in more detail, is it would appear that the special guardianship orders has a big impact on the number of children would perhaps have been requiring accommodation. Is that correct, Joanne? Or
that's had a significant impact on the work we've done on our children looked after numbers, and we've got probably another 10 young people who we're looking to discharge care orders on, who are going for SGOs coming forward. It's helping us to stabilise our children looked after numbers. I won't go on too much because I'm sure the questions will be in the SGO one.
That's right, yes.
But it's really significant. It's a really vital part of our work.
Yeah. And finally, just want to echo what Claire has said, really. It is a very comprehensive report. I think that's shown in the number of questions, really, that have been asked, because questions were answered. So before we move on to the next item, did committee address the recommendations in the report? And do you feel it added value to scrutiny? Okay. Everyone in agreement with that?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, thank you all. I'm going to remind myself now, what are we doing next? We're doing the
agenda item 7, vision of adult social services.
That's correct, Claire, yes.
Chair, sorry.
Yeah. And that's over to Alexandra.
Thank you, Chair. So scrutiny members will see in the report this is an update in relation to our vision for adult social care. So the report is by way of updating you on the Adult Services Transformation Programme, and its intended outcome is to improve the well-being of people who receive care and support services. So the report focuses on the four priority areas, of the programme, which includes the vision for adult social care, adult services accommodation strategy, the implementation of outcome-focused commissioning, and the intended remodelling of adult social care services in line with the integration agenda. So you'll see in the report there's a background information there about it being a key priority for our council, and we wouldn't be able to, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. It would not be possible to meet the changing expectations and needs within the resources available. So there's a little bit of background information into why we need to do this change significantly, because of the rising need in population and the fact that we know that our demographic is going to change significantly in terms of the levels of people requiring support in adulthood. So you'll see that there's updates on the Adult Services Transformation Programme, the current work programme and projects, and then finally the development of the vision. So there's a bit of information in relation to the development of the vision for adult social care, because we undertook some consultation with our staff group in the first instance, because obviously without bringing our staff on board, it would be very difficult to implement any kind of vision. So we have developed some key principles. So people will see in the report that principles identified are about empowering people to help themselves, working alongside people to support them to keep well, support people when they need it, support people to live their best lives. That's one of our key objectives. But ensure services are focused on what's important to them and on restoring, enhancing or maintaining independence. So we've created the working vision, and I asked Scrutiny to comment on that, because this is a working vision. We are required to go out to consult with people with lived experiences and those individuals who use our services. So people who live in Merthyr Tydfil who need care and support will have improved health and wellbeing outcomes and greater choice across their lifetime. People will be empowered to live in a place that they can call home, with people who are important to them, in safe, caring communities that look out for one another, doing things that matter to them. So that's our working vision at this moment in time. I'm going to move on then just to give you some brief updates in relation to the Adult Services Accommodation Strategy. So Scrutiny members will see in the strategy of why we need one and the current actions in relation to that. And then coupled with that is the outcomes focused commissioning, which is an update on how we commission our services and how we've changed that delivery in terms of moving towards a more outcome focused provision. So we commission a range of our services, ranging from home care provision, supported living, care home. We have SLAs with a number of organisations as well. And we've reset our commissioning attentions from prescriptive time and task contracts towards strengths-based approach. So Scrutiny will see the outcomes of the aim of the outcomes approach there. And then finally, making reference to the remodel and redesign of frontline services and workforce planning. So we're currently in the process of a change management and looking at how we can utilise existing resources to be enabling us to build resilience in our frontline services. So we've included additional social work staff to support hospital discharge, also in conjunction with our outcomes focused commissioning, increase our brokerage and contract monitoring resources to support as well. So we do recognise that we've got further work to be undertaken on our journey with our workforce, because they are essential in supporting us on our journey of change, and we'll work with staff in a co-productive way. So that's a summary of where we're at and what we need to do next. We would, members will be cited to item 7, so we want to look at developing engagement events, highlighting the strategy and developing it further through co-production with our stakeholders, staff and those with lived experience, launch the vision for adult social care, and then implement the accommodation strategy, focusing upon key deliverables and partnership engagement. So I hope that Scrutiny members find this report useful in terms of where we are on our strategic direction in adult social care, and I welcome any questions, Chair.
Thank you, Alex. Much appreciated. Any questions, please? Councillor David Hughes? And then Councillor Ian Thomas after.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the report. it's good to see that you use the staff in the setting up of the report. As you said, if you don't take the staff with you, it would be hard to implement it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a few questions, but to be honest, you answered a lot. Well, you go on. So, one question I want, adult funding feasibility analysis that you had funded by the regional partnership, have that been undertaken now?
Sorry, Councillor Hughes, but what funding are you referring to? Because we
It was
get a lot of funding.
5.5.
Sorry, pathways funding.
No, I think he was related to the foundation trust.
Oh, sorry, apologies, Councillor Hughes. Sorry, and you just went dark then as well. So what we did was we applied to the Regional Integrated Fund to enable us to undertake an adult services accommodation strategy, because that's the purpose of that fund in particular. And what that has enabled us to do is commission an organisation called HICO, who are in associates, who are undertaking that piece of work on our behalf. But what it is doing is spanning across all of adult social care accommodation options, but with a focus upon specific areas. So one of those is actually very linked to children's services around young people approaching adulthood, individuals who have challenges with substance misuse issues and mental health difficulties, but also looking at our care home provision and our supported living provision moving forward, and developing then a capital programme of works that we might need to do in order to meet the ongoing needs of people who are going to be requiring adult social care services in the future, but also those younger people who are approaching adulthood as well. So it's been undertaken with all of our partners, so housing associations. We've met with the RSL, not me personally, but the organisation has met with the RSLs. We've met with all of our partners, we've met with health, and they are taking that forward. We have a session planned on the 17th of April, which will give us some early indications of what outcomes we need to undertake. And those, we have had some early indications of some challenges for us, but we were aware of them anyway. So, but this is enabling us to progress this really, because I think that whilst we've worked really hard in terms of extra care and providing that provision, we are perhaps not so forward thinking in terms of the other challenges that we have in our demographic.
Thank you. Have you still got the transformation and the transformation from children to adults committee? Have you still got that?
The transition process. So we're working on that at the moment. Yeah. So it would be fair to say that we are doing a review of it and working very closely with children's services, because what we recognise is that we've obviously, with the link to the previous item that Joe presented, that actually we've got a lot of younger people who are going to be approaching adulthood who are going to need potentially those services in the future. So it is all linked in relation to transition, and we're currently reviewing our arrangements and making sure we've got the appropriate actions in place. So we're working with children's services on those and making it a much more streamlined process.
Lovely. I just got two more for Gareth. Is that right? Can't you remember?
Sorry, I had my mic off. Yeah, certainly, that's fine, David.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you said that you living, the contract you've given the first contract awarded to supported living provision, and you were consulting with people with lived experience. Lived experiences, and you're using LICE, which is the champion voice for.
Yeah, so we met with Dan, I believe. I met with Dan the last couple of weeks, and shared with him our vision for adult social care, and we'll be working with CLICE in terms of when we actually go out to engage. So I've linked in with them, and I've got an engagement planning session next week with our other officers, My colleague is on the call today as well. Should there be any further questions, I'll go to him. But we are working quite closely with the third sector. So we've met with VAMPT as well in terms of our potential, well, our working vision at this moment in time. But obviously the most important piece of work that we need to do is listening to the voices of people with lived experience. So that's people who are in the seat of services, their parents, their carers, and anybody else that is going to be at some point maybe requiring services from adult social care. So it's quite an extensive planning piece of work, and the voice, and obviously health as well as one of our significant partners. So hence why I've met with CLICE to start beginning that process.
Yeah. The reason I asked that question, because when we had the presentation, he said that he hadn't started working that closely with social care yet.
No, at that last,
with health.
yeah, when I met with Dan, obviously we had some conversations around that, and whilst they are commissioned mostly to work with health in relation to consultations, they haven't met their way into social care at the moment. So I've been a bit of a gateway in terms of making that happen. So he's making those connections, obviously, with the local authority leads and what we are planning to do, because I think it's highly important to make sure we're hearing the voices of the people that we support.
That's it. And my last question, which you'd be glad to know.
Right,
we have a program of change management, okay? And you built in a resilience to our frontline services for extra social work staff to support hospital discharge.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, because I get a lot of people ringing me because their relatives are stuck in hospital and they can't get out?
Yeah. So we do know that there are going to be delays in people's transfer of care from hospital to the community, and there are a range of reasons for those particular issues, and that could be the availability of the packages of care. So if I link you back to our current tender out for home care, we're hoping that that will promote a straight to service pathway, so that will mean that the delays will decrease. But sometimes it is as a result of choice in care homes, unfortunately. But we work really hard with our partners in terms of health to ensure that people are discharged in a timely way, because actually research shows and it's quite damaging for people to remain in hospital for long term. So we are aware of that. We have been given additional support via a Pathways grant to enable us to support hospital discharge process. So that's been utilised at the front end and within our hospital discharge team to ensure that we are making the best use of our resources, but ultimately ensuring that people are discharged from hospital to home as their wishes or as a best interest decision, but also where there are delays, how we tackle that significantly. So our delays have decreased. Unfortunately, at times, we are aware that the health board go into business continuity issues, and there are some significant concerns in relation to that. But also we need to make sure that we're not inappropriately discharging people home, because that is as damaging to those individuals, because they could end up back in hospital or unfortunately without a package of care that is going to meet their needs. So we cover everything, but Councillor Hughes, we can't always manage delays, but we do have to statutory report to the Welsh Government on our packages of delays, and we are regularly meeting on a monthly basis with Welsh Government in terms of our pathway of care delays. So we are challenged when there are delays, and there is always a reason for them, and mostly it's due to a range of circumstances. So, but yeah, we have seen a decrease.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Okay. Finish, Councillor Hughes? Yeah. Councillor Ian Thomas next, and then Councillor Davis Isaac has his hand up.
Thank you, Chair. Alexander, I've got 2 questions. On page 25 of your report, you talk about the pilot of a falls responder service.
Yeah.
Is it a 24/7 service, and how does it work?
So thank you, Councillor Thomas. So it's a pilot at this moment in time. It's not a 24-hour service, unfortunately, because we're unable to do that. So it operates between the hours, I believe, of 8 in the morning to 9 o'clock in the evening. I'd have to double check that, because as it's part of a pilot, and it's a pilot with RCT. We're gradually increasing, so there's a meeting this Friday to discuss how we can progress that moving forward. So a falls responder service is linked to our lifeline provision, and what it means is that those individuals with a lifeline, if they have fallen, then carers will go out with the specific moving and handling equipment to enable them. It's called I can't remember the name of it now, sorry, I will find out for you. But I stumble. Sorry, I knew it would come to me. We have lots of technical names for things, but they will go out and they will assess whether that individual, that person who has fallen, can be safely moved back and lifted from the floor. The provision of it is to avoid hospital admissions, and also name more appropriately that people aren't remaining on the floor for long periods of time in terms of where they have fallen, because that is significant. So it's not a 24-hour service yet, and it is a pilot, and the money has come from Health at this moment in time, because it is a service that is working in RCT and has been for some time. So we're currently assessing the pilot and how that could look, and I'll be making further applications then for funding if it's a success. And at this moment in time, I think the data has shown that we are seeing an increase in calls via to our falls responder service to support people.
Oh, that's fine, thank you very much. The other question, page 22, where you outlined the new vision for adult social care, and you give quite a full description of what the vision is.
Mm-hmm.
But we also had a previous vision with a full description. Can you tell me what is the main essential difference between the new vision and the old vision, please?
The vision for adult social care, or the vision for Mawrth Council? Because I think, for me, I wasn't aware that there was a specific vision for adult social care.
Oh, sorry, I misquoted it then.
Yeah, so this is a specific vision for adult social care in terms of where we need to go for our own, from an adult social care perspective. So when I talk about adult social care, Councillor Thomas, this isn't about what adult social services provide. This is about the whole of adult social care, because it is very large and very reliant upon our community resources as well. So this is specifically for adult social care. So that's what it is linked to the corporate vision, and we do take into account those, but this is specifically in relation to adult social care. So what we want to do is make sure that people who are going to require services from adult social care in the future will know what they can expect when they approach us, and that we'll have a set of principles and then some expectations, what they can expect from us and what we'll expect from people as well. And it will be across all of our services, so the third sector, health, social care, commission services, any services that the local authority commission in order to meet our statutory duties.
Right, well, thank you very much for that. And that's all. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Thomas. Councillor David Isaac, please.
Thanks, Chair. I've had more questions since the questions have been asked. Picking up on what Councillor Hughes was saying, with the reliance of health and the lack of beds, especially at this time, do you believe that they are basically forcing patients into the buzzword of care in the community, or do they actually need to be assessed properly to stop the failed discharge?
Okay, so thank you, Councillor Isaac. So the Health Board operate on what we call an optimise for discharge. So the individuals who are fully optimised, so for discharge, that basically means that they're at their best and that they can be discharged home. There is a joint responsibility for social care and health to assess those individuals, and social care and social workers will raise concerns if people have been discharged inappropriately, or they are planning for discharge and all the assessments haven't been completed in the right way. So what I would say is that health, there is a turning in terms of how we support people, because the research shows that actually it's really significantly damaging for individuals to remain in hospital for long term. However, where there is a need for it, it does happen, but we work really proactively with our health partners in terms of making sure that we get it right for individuals. So whilst I'm not sure in terms of the reduction of beds, if people do need to remain having care, then they do, but the ultimate aim is for people to be discharged to an appropriate setting of their care, and that could be either in their own home and what they wish for. I think that's the most important thing, is the individual's wish, but also about whether that needs to be provided in a care setting, in a more formal care setting. So whilst there may have been some reduction in beds, and health will also commission health beds from our care home sector, and we have a joint contract with our health partners in terms of making sure that nursing care is provided in the appropriate way. So I would say that we're on times never going to get away from some inappropriate discharges, because people can change, but we have the mechanisms in place to be able to challenge those, and we do on a regular basis, and we work in partnership with our health colleagues.
Thank you. I've got a couple more. When these elderly people come home, we're all aware of how much these care staff that go into homes are paid, and it's a big problem, I believe, in the sector at the moment. Do you believe that we have enough care staff going in to check on these patients and to provide support for them?
I do, because the way that we commission our care, our home care provision is monitored through our contract monitoring and brokerage service. So we do have those mechanisms in place. All of our care workers, when we look at how they are paid, there's a commitment that the organisations that we commission are registered care providers, pay the real living wage, which is down from Welsh Government. So they set the parameters of the real living wage, and we expect our commission providers to pay that across all of our commissioned and regulated services. In terms of care staff, at times we do have some challenges in relation to the workforce, as we would in any other sector. But in particular in Merthyr, we don't have anybody waiting for home care services, and if they do, it's normally for 2 or 3 days. However, we are aware that people do wait. I make reference to the new home care contract that's going out, where we will actually be zoning our providers. So they will only work in one particular area of Merthyr, so there's going to be 3 zones. And the reason why we've done that is to encourage our workforce as well, so that we've got more local community people living in that area providing support to our vulnerable people who are returning home. So whilst I think there is highlighted news about the care sector, I would say that in Merthyr we're in a really, really good position in terms of our care agencies at this moment in time. And in fact, the 6 care agencies that we commission go above and beyond to make sure that our individuals who are returning home are supported appropriately, as well as our internal initial support service.
Thanks, that was very good. And I got 2 more. I know that some families are waiting what they see as a very long time for getting residents into care, as in either a residential home or a nursing home. Are we still having problems getting residents into particularly nursing homes for the last couple of months?
I would say that we do have a shortage of nursing home provision. We have 2 main providers in Merthyr who are our nursing care homes, so they're registered nursing, and one is in the Treharris area and one is in quite close to the Merthyr town centre. However, we commission with a range of nursing homes. The challenge is that unfortunately, what I will say is that those people are remaining in the community in their own home for much longer, so the demand on nursing care provision is extensive, and so at times people may wait for a while. And also what does tend to happen is that the care home because they're a registered service of CIW, have to carry out their own assessment. And at times, if they feel that they're unable to meet that person's need, or the mix or the match isn't right within their care setting, they may decline to provide a placement. So that can be a challenge at points. But I would say that we've had people waiting for long periods of time, and that's normally due to a range of issues. And it's around availability of nursing care homes, and we are aware of it. So what we are doing with the region, and when I talk about this as the regional commissioning unit, we are doing a piece of work around care home brokerage on behalf of RCT, Merthyr and Bridgend, about how we can actually look at what it is that we require and how we can support providers to develop their nursing care provision. And I think it would be fair to say that dependent on the identification of the nursing care, because obviously there's general nursing care and then elderly mentally infirm EMI nursing care, where there is a shortage. I'm not going to sit here and say that there isn't. That is a challenge in ourselves. So we are looking at how we can support the market, and that is linked to our accommodation strategy as well, because there could be some things that we could work with our providers in. I'm very keen on working with our providers to develop resources within the Merthyr area, because we do need them. But it's about how we do that in a feasible way. So I hope I've answered your question, Councillor Iachach, in a long-winded way.
Yes, I can understand that. And finally, the Falls team. How long do you believe it's feasible to get a Falls team to a patient? I mean, I'm thinking about long lies. I don't know if you know what a long lie is. I'm thinking about long lies. You may get your team on scene and the patient to be down for maybe 6-8 hours, but it's only due to the fact it's only been reported then. Are your teams going to be trained in long lies? Because moving patients after long lies does have its drawbacks as well.
So the carers that are in the Falls Responder Service are trained in what we call iStumble, but also in relation to individuals who have potentially been on, lying for a very long time, we link in with the health hub, and we link in with ambulance service in relation to whether that individual should be moved in a safe way. And if they're not able to be, then we would make that person comfortable, and then the ambulance service would be supporting that individual. So we have mechanisms and we have risk assessments that are undertaken in relation to those individuals. In relation to the Falls Responder Service, it's linked to Lifeline, so somebody will have a falls pendant that will be alerted, the person will be contacted, and the Falls Responder Service will be deployed. And at this moment in time, we're measuring when the Falls Responder Service is going to those individuals, and the longest wait so far has been 45 minutes. But that is dependent upon, obviously, if there's other people that have fallen as well, because it is only a service across RCT and Merthyr. But we do have the mechanisms to be able to assess whether we need to move a patient safely. And if there are any significant concerns, then we wouldn't do that, because we could cause some further damage if somebody has fractured their hip or their femur and all of those sorts of things. So we're fully trained in all moving and handling. I'm saying the service that we commission are fully trained, but we monitor that, and they're regulated by CIW. So we have to provide certain assurances and training to our regulators as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to see the kit they contain in, because the old camel system used to just pick people off the floor. You've now got things that actually form into a chair that can keep people comfortable for a while. So I'd like to see how that goes.
I can provide you with the equipment that the Falls Responder Services use. They have purchased additional, I want to say Mavi, but I'm not 100% sure what it's called. But they've purchased additional equipment to enable us to ensure that we can move people in a safe and appropriately risk-assessed way. And those individual staff are trained to do that piece of work. So I can surely send that to you.
Great. As I say, I'd like to see the outcomes of those in one of the next meetings, Go.
Of course. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, any other questions?
No,
Okay,
thank you.
I've got a couple. Obviously, you may have got a time frame for this piece of work, Alex, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we're hopeful. Sorry, Councillor Richards.
So
I'll
my
shoot you
question was, are we
quickly.
on track? How long do you envisage, and are we on track, really? That's my question.
So we're
My first.
hopeful. So we're hopeful that we will launch the adult vision and the adult social care strategy in the summer of 2026. And I suppose members are being quite loose with that in terms of the summer, because it depends how long our summer actually is. But I envisage that we will be looking at launching it probably around July, August time. But it is dependent on the consultation period, and we do rely upon our partners to help us with that. So we have got that, and once we've agreed the date, then I'll inform Scrutiny, but there will be a formal launch, and it will probably be done via social media and some drop-in sessions, just explaining to people what it is, and some easy read information for our individuals with learning disabilities, and easy accessible information for other people as well, because actually I think some of that is so this report is obviously very wordy, but when we go out to give the strategy, it'll be in an easy, accessible form for people to fully understand.
Okay, thank you. And my understanding is it's coming back to scrutiny before it will go to cabinet. Is that correct?
I would assume so. Yes.
Yeah, the final report. Yeah, that's my understanding.
The final report. Yeah.
Yeah, before it goes to
Yeah.
cabinet or council for approval.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Further question, and my only other question is to do with it's in paragraph 563. You say the first contract award was for supported living provision.
Yeah.
Okay. I am aware there were some issues. Are all these now ironed out?
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Richard. So there were some concerns that were raised to us by people with lived experience and their parents and carers. I held a consultation session, I believe it was on the 18th of December, explaining what our process is. The contract is formally transferring on the 1st of April, and as with any contract transfer, there are some teething problems and there are some difficulties, as we know.
Yeah.
But we've been really fortunate in the way that we've been able to deal with them, and we've been able to link in with our people who are living in the services, but also their parents and carers to offer reassurances, because supported living is quite a complex service in terms of the individuals there, because obviously not the individuals there, but the tenancies. So there's issues around tenancy that we have to do, there's issues around care and support, there's issues around appointeeship for money management. So all of those issues have been ironed out and have been dealt with as we're going along. And then also from that aspect is the 2P programme as well, because that has been a challenge, as with any other contract transfer. But in answer to your question, yes, in essence it has, but as with any other provision that we have, there are inevitably going to be some challenges as we move along, but we're really proactive in how we deal with those.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. I've got no further questions. Any comments, please? Claire?
Yeah, firstly, thank you, Chair. Firstly, I'd like to apologise because I am having technical difficulties. And how many anything? So I've had questions and I've just been trying to open everything, and I've spent the time opening and shutting my computer. So I do apologise I haven't asked the questions I wanted to, because it doesn't sync into my phone. So I would just like to say thank you ever so much. Listening to the questions from my colleagues and the way you've answered them, I think you've just done exceptional. And I know that there was questions that some of my colleagues had touched on that I had questions about as well. But you answered them, and I'm just so sorry that I was unable to answer anything because my technical difficulties are off the Richter scale, Councillor Richard, so I do apologise. I've stayed silent for most of this, but thank you, Chair.
No problem. Any other comments? Okay. Well, good luck with the project, and we look forward to seeing the end result, really, before it goes to cabinet. So will members agree that committee addressed the recommendations in the report and it added value to scrutiny?
Yeah.
All in
Yes,
agreement?
Chair. Yes,
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you all. So we'll move on then to the next report, which is special guardianship orders. Joanne, I think it's back to you for this, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
So this is a report on special guardianship orders. The report provides members with an overview of special guardianship orders, or SGOs as you'll probably hear me call them. The report will give an overview of the support provided in Merthyr Tydfil to special guardians and data to show the number of special guardians and children on special guardianship orders. So the purpose of the report is that Scrutiny Committee discusses and comments on the issues set out in the report and identifies any further information they'd like to receive. There are obviously numerous reasons why children can't remain with their birth families, and an SGO provides an alternative way of caring for young people which doesn't involve children being on a care order and therefore looked after by the local authority. We're really proud of the support that we're bringing in for our special guardians within Merthyr Tydfil, and we're continuing to develop that service. We're looking for our senior practitioner will be starting on the 1st of April, so that's next week. So we're really looking forward to her coming through and helping us to deliver the SGO service that we want to be able to deliver. It's a continual development. We will always find new ideas and get ideas from us SGO carers about what they feel would be helpful to them, but hopefully this will give you good evidence of where we've been and where we're looking to progress. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Over to questions, please. Any questions? Councillor David Isaac?
Thank you, Chair. If you just bear with me, I've got to change pages to see where I am on the... so just 1 second. It's on 6, where we want to be, and it's 6.4. To have in place SGO panel to ensure ongoing quality assurance of SGO plans and across team consensus on care planning. Who would be on this panel? That's the first one.
Okay, so that's chaired by Rachel Alonzi, who's also on the call today. So she is the principal officer for fostering where the SGOs currently are. They're going to move to a different part of my service, but Rachel's such experience now in terms of our the quality of our SGO plans that she will be chairing those going forward. We've had compliments from court and GAFCAS about the quality of them, so I'm not taking that part from Rachel, so she'll be chairing it. And if you've got further questions, it might be nice for Rachel to be able to answer them about who will be attending, if that's what you'd like, a good experience for her.
Yeah, it's. I'm just wondering, would there be a call for a member of the council to sit on this just as an overview, just to go back to it, or is it just because of safeguarding issues you couldn't put them on?
Yeah, so it is just members of Children's Services who are involved in that case. Potentially legal might be brought into it if there's some legal challenges. But yeah, it probably wouldn't be appropriate for members to come in and hear the information that's provided about these, lots of information about the children's families.
Yeah, okay. And that was one of the things I was thinking about. In the past, SGOs have gone south, basically due to the fact that the person who's under the special guardian order has broken the rules of the contract as such. You know what I'm saying, that the parents come on board. What do we have in mind? I noticed you said that maybe be part of the help desk. What would be the ideal scenario if this is broken? What help would we have emergency wise to take this child into our care, etc.? You know, it's where would it go, where would it be reported, and all that kind of.
It would be the same process of any other young person with a family member or with parents. So we've got the support that's provided within the SGO team, which will be for those ones who are sort of newly granted SGOs. So they're more likely to, like you say, is to do as they're told because everything's fresh in their mind. So if it's recent, it will be within those teams. If it's only open to what we call review, so where we do a financial review and a wellbeing review once a year according to the regulations. So we're meeting the regulations, and we found some information out. It would go through our multi-agency support hub, so our MASH team. Support Safeguarding Hub, sorry. Through our MASH, and it could potentially go through our intake team through that usual process. What I'd like ultimately, if we get to that stage, is to have all that support so it is just dealt with within the sort of the Children Looked After SGO team, so they're dealing with it all, so that because they'll know the families best. We're not there yet. We haven't got the numbers for that need at this moment in time, and setting up a front desk, I think it'd be a bit too confusing with a change in mosaic to that in sort of January next year. So I think we're not there. Maybe in a couple of years we'll have the numbers and the need for it, but it's in the back of my mind in case we do go down that route, having everything just going through the direct team just for SGOs.
Yeah, because I've been made aware of SGOs, as I say, I'll just say going south, and children then having to return back into maybe foster adoption care.
I think the word is breakdown, David, Ron.
Well, yes, but sometimes you can't use breakdown because it has implications on people's mental health. So you can tell I've been involved in some of these things, can't you? But yeah, that's basically the gist of it, if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay. Any further questions? As a follow-up, aren't there any further questions? No. As a follow-up from David's one, are there many SGOs? What's the sort of percentage that would, in his words, go south or break down, whatever we want to use?
Not be successful. I do.
Yes.
They're very low in Mawrth,
Well,
really low.
Yeah.
I don't even give a percentage. One,
Yeah.
two a year. When they go wrong, and when
Yeah.
they're awful situations for everybody involved, parents, children, and the SGO carers themselves. They're
Yeah.
really awful. But I wouldn't say we have very high numbers of them at
No.
all. Touch
Yeah.
wood. And hopefully with our support that we're putting in place, that will continue along
Yeah.
that route. It's trying to get in early. That's what you need to do, is to get in really early to provide that support. And hopefully with our robust SGO plans that we're putting through to the court, they will continue with low numbers.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Gad, I can't obviously say where or when, but a couple of years ago, I was in a very sticky situation where I was in the middle of a family breakdown, or what have you, and we had nowhere for this child to go at that point of police and safety. So the police had to come in and just remove the child, which was upsetting for everybody. So I'm just hoping that it's going to be a lot simpler, and we'd have all the ducks in a row for if something happens like that.
Hopefully with our new plans, and we have contingency plans
Yeah.
within our assessments, that's part of the work that we've undertaken. I like a contingency plan because it makes my life easier when we're on call and out of hours, that I know exactly where that young person's supposed to go and how we can provide that support. So it's really important, like you say, that we have a plan, we abide by the plan, and we have a contingency in case it goes wrong.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Before I move on, I got a couple of questions. I'm going to be like Clive Jones a minute now. I got a query on paragraph 3.1. Isn't it the Adoption Insurance Act 2002?
Sorry, 2 secs. Let me get through. Scroll up to it. What did you say? Which one?
It's 3.1. Just for the record, really, so that can be amended if I may be proved wrong.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a typo.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what I said.
2022. That's wrong.
I'm being a bit of a
2002.
Clive Jones here now, but just for the record, so it's accurate.
Yeah, apologies. Yes,
Yeah.
typo.
In paragraph 3.12, you refer to the fact that obviously the parent doesn't give up PR, parental responsibility. Does that create problems then? Because unlike an adoption, etc., does this cause problems to the persons who hold the SGO and the department?
No, SGOs are granted when we've worked out a plan of how that will be managed and what decisions are made going forward. So for everyday decisions, the SGO carers have overriding parental responsibility. So that means that I think it's only if they're going to move abroad or change the young person's name, otherwise they make all the decisions.
Yeah.
It is just nice for these young people to continue to have a connection with their birth families, which for me, you know, when you think about adoption, it's quite a draconian option, really. Those young people end all contact with their birth family. Not so much now, because we're now promoting, you know, ongoing contact, but they lose rights to things like inheritance and things like that. With SGOs, that doesn't happen. I think it's important for young people to continue that connection and know their life journey, so they know who they are and those families. They have ongoing family time several times a year. You know, it could be once a month, it could be more, depending on each family situation. The families could, you know, come over for Sunday dinners. It's far more informal, and we can come in and support if there's an increased need, if that makes sense. So whatever the need of the family is, but you know, it doesn't cause problems.
Yeah. Thanks,
in
Joanne.
most cases. I'm not going to say never, but mostly no.
My next question is in relation to, there's obviously was a big increase in SGOs in 24-25. Is the trend continuing? I think there is an update perhaps to January this year, possibly 21. Is it this year?
Yeah,
has that increased any further, or?
We've got a whole raft of them to go through in sort of quarter 1, quarter 2.
Yes.
Of the next year. I think there's, like I said, there's at least 10 young people who are hoping to get through on SGOs who are in care at the moment. So we would continue that work, hopefully with the new senior practitioner coming in, with the team going across to the Children Looked After team. That will continue that promotion of how important special guardianships are. We've changed the way we work our court processes, so instead of going in and requiring a care order at the first hearing, we're doing all the work and we're going in and requesting a special guardianship order when those children are placed with family members already. So we've just changed some of our legal processes, so those numbers should continue to rise.
Okay, thanks, Joanne. Are there any? I've got no further questions. Any comments, please?
I've got one, Chair.
Oh, sorry, a question, Ian, or comment?
A comment, sorry, Chair.
Okay, yeah.
I'd just like to thank Joanne for a quality report with plenty of good stats. It's early days for this system, and there'll be lots of problems to be ironed out, particularly with family disagreements. But it's a good initiative, and I would like to wish it well. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, any other comments? Claire?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Joe, I'd just like to say, again, exceptional. Thankfully, my colleagues asked some of the questions because I've now been locked out of Mawrth.gov. So I would just like to say thank you again, and like, I reiterate what Councillor Thomas has just said. I wish you all the best. It's very interesting, and I'm watching somebody go through the SGO process at the moment, and I'm gaining feedback off them daily. So yeah, all the best, and thank you ever so much for the detailed report, and to yourself, Lisa. So thank you. Thank you, Jen.
Just to follow on by complimenting you as well, Joanne, and your colleagues who deal with this area, because not only is it having an effect on number of placements the local authority has to find, but it also gives some stability for the children as well, and that perhaps is the most crucial of the two. So again, thank you for your report. Sorry we didn't hear, it's been delayed because we couldn't hear it at the last committee because of it was in quorum. So, but I'm glad it's come forward today. So turning back to members before we move to our final report, is whether members feel that this added value to scrutiny this afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Up to officers now, whether they. Before we move on, was remiss of me. Councillor Hughes gave his apologies earlier on. He had to leave before the special guardianship report, so he gave his apologies. But we'll move on now to the forward work programme report, and it's up to members and up to officers really whether they wish to stay or not for this final report. Okay, thank you. So we'll move to the forward work programme. We've got one meeting left now in this cycle, which is the next meeting is the 5th of May. And we have 2 items on the agenda for that meeting. That's safeguarding and mental health. I think I'm meeting with the director. Claire, I think you've got an invite. I don't know if you can make it on Thursday, just to run through that agenda. Well, what's planned for that agenda on Thursday? We'll meet on Thursday for the agenda on the 5th of May. Are there any queries or questions on the forward work programme we've got left? Because we'll have to move forward in the next cycle, then looking toward for items which can be put into the next cycle. So have some thoughts about that. What you feel you want on the agenda in the coming cycle. Okay, so can we move on to item number 9, which is scrutiny referrals? I've got nothing brought to my attention. We have got no feedback from scrutiny activities, and I've got no any other business, so that's all that's left is to say thank you all for attending and have a nice Easter, and we'll meet up in early May.